As here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkione, we have the red Zerga player representing CranKy Z Gaming. DKZ, it is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran player from the land of China representing Team Little Fairy. It is Coffee. Coffee is crazy good. Coffee is, yeah, he's really good. It's really impressive to see him thriving. Coffee, I would say, is the second best Terran player in China, but second best to Oliveira. I mean, it's Oliveira. Like, he's the world champion the reigning world champion for a reason. But again, Coffee has been looking damn strong this year. To wind it back, if you remember, Coffee retired. Coffee retired at the start of the year, and I was afraid that was going to be the end of Coffee, that we just wouldn't see him anymore. That was when he left IG. He left Invictus Gaming towards the beginning of 2023. And yeah, he stepped away from the game. He stepped away from StarCraft for a couple of months. And I remember, I think he left for like 2 months. I want to say like there was like a 2-month period where he had retired. And then he came back. Then suddenly he showed up in a Kung Fu Cup. He joined Team Little Fairy, so he got a little bit more support. And yeah, Coffee, he's been more active ever since, and that's when he went for his insane ESL Masters Summer run, where Coffee got second place. He got second place in the ESL Masters Summer, second only to Oliveira, if I recall correctly. And even in the winter season, I think he got top 4. I think Coffee got top 4, falling to Firefly and the other Chinese Protoss players who have been on the rise recently. But yeah, basically, when it came to Coffee's return, when it came to his joining of Little Fairy, like, he has been improving quite a lot, and it's been really cool to see him. Really cool to see him thrive, especially after thinking that we were not going to see him anymore. So really nice to see. As Coffee is going to be getting across the map. Did go for a standard opener here against Dark. He's going to be dancing with these lings. Poking away at those workers. Dark going to be going for a third hatchery, so it's going to be a hatch gas pull out of Dark into a third base. Standard opener from our Zerg player. Oh! As we do force in 2 of those spore crawlers. Not getting a drone kill yet, but some nice disruption of the mining. Behind this third CC. It's going to be a third CC before Starport. Very economic opener here from Coffee. I know that Coffee is known for his quote-unquote Coffee builds, like some really quirky and inventive play and like exploratory play. But for now, standard. He's playing standard, going for a Starport before third CC. Oh, sorry, after third CC. So 3cc Starport play. If we get a Tech Lab here, we could be going into Banshees. We could go for an add-on swap. Speaking of, there is that Tech Lab on the way for Coffee, so it's looking to be a Banshee-based opener. We'll see. Which would be quite smart against Dark. Dark is known for his Roach play, and Banshee openers are just very safe against Roaches overall. As the Reaper is forced out. Meanwhile, back at home, we do go for the add-on swap, and we are going for those Banshees. So far from Coffee, everything is by the book. It's a very meta play. Very standard for a reason, though. It's really solid. Able to get into a longer game here on Alkione. There it is. We're going to be investing into Cloak. Into said Banshees. And the Hellions are going to be moving out. They almost catch a drone, but a quick Evo chamber. The workers are saved. Quick moves there out of Dark. Able to hold on to his position. Behind this, he's just been happily droning, producing queens, just reacting and responding to what Coffee has brought to the table. Nice snipe on the tumor. Meanwhile, we have our tech of choice. It's going to be a lair first. So very safe play here out of Dark. Going for a lair first. Should be leading into eventually a Baneling Nest in a couple of seconds once the lair is... Oh, never mind! No Baneling Nest. Roaches. And, I mean, that's Dark. We even just spoke about it, how I do think that's really wise to go for a Banshee opener against Dark because he's so accustomed to playing Roaches. Roach is like the spirit animal of Dark. And again, with Banshees, we're going to be able to harass across the map and maintain our map control as well. as long as you don't lose the Banshees. Meanwhile, Coffee is still in the dark. He still hasn't recognized that it is in fact going to be roaches. Like, we can make the assumption, sure, but Dark, he can play Ling Bane. More like he can go Ling Bane into Ultra. That's another really popular build from Dark, especially on larger maps. He can play Muta. So Coffee still has to piece it together. As there's 1-1 on the way. Roaches are amassing. Banshees are finally going to be moving out across the map. With this, they can get some economic damage, and they can also scout. That's probably what's more important. As they dive on the 4th base, and we do force a cancel. Aliens threatening on the left-hand side. I love that Coffee isn't diving. Like, he's been very tentative with these Hellions. Hasn't just aped into a mineral line or anything like that. Roach Warren has been spotted, has been confirmed. Coffee is now aware of what Dark is up to. And Dark is cutting workers at 65. So this is basically a 3-base economy from Dark, and he is producing nothing but roaches. He is getting ready for a push. Oh, the Hellion, speaking of not diving, he's going in! He is stopped by those lings. Roaches have arrived, and this is not worth it here for Coffee. Not yet! Oh, gets into the mineral line. He's going to get a couple of drones. Oh, 3 workers. 3 workers go down. Not too sure that was really worth it in the end. We do cancel the 4th base for a second time. But the roaches, we are moving out. How many roaches do we have? Not too many. 14 roaches. So we're going to be moving out. We're going to be posturing. But I don't think we have enough to commit. We'll see. Banshees, they get 6 workers across the map. Marines are in position. Roaches, they can't quite push in. Upgrades are still not done. There's a tank in position. A big tank shot going to be going off. And Dark respects it. Does have to pull back. Still trying to get his 4th base. Coffee doing a great job here at denying the 4th over and over again. And we're getting even more drones. It was 6 workers earlier. Now another 3. 9 in total. Very nicely done. And a bold move here out of Coffee. In the face of all these roaches, going for a drop. Roaches are pulling back. Coffee calls the bluff of Dark. Covenant in his tanks. Dark is back home though. He has a handful of roaches in position. We pick off 1. Coffee is being forced back. Behind this, working on +2. +1 melee is on the way. So Dark, he wants to get out of roaches into Ling Bane. Baneling speed is on the way. So Dark, he will have roaches to support his army. He will have Ravagers specifically to support his army. But mainly reliant on Ling Bane. The problem is, because of his opener, the Ling Bane upgrades are going to be a little bit disjointed and a little bit behind. This Coffee is being active, clearing up a lot of this creep. 4th base finally up and running here for Dark. It is a very late 4th, but finally it has arrived. Coffee dipping into the main, catching some overlords, potentially. Up, up. Doesn't get the overlord. Trading with the roaches though. This one gets 2 roaches. Behind this, another double drop on the left hand side. We're pushing on in. Catching some tumors, catching an overlord. Nothing major, but a couple of good trades here and there. And here we go, the main push. This entire time Coffee has been harassing with Marines, but now we're pushing with tanks. We have 4 tanks in total. We have 1, 1, 2, 2, still halfway down the miles. Oof. Does graze the army. We can see Dark trying to slow down this force, trying to force the siege. Dark rotating around. Amassing lings. No Banelings. No Banelings here from Dark. He's going to try to collapse on this army. Ugh. Doesn't get the tanks though. Tanks will be sieging. They are bunched up. Biles, they take down a medevac. Marines are steaming on forward as well. Tanks doing a lot of damage here in the back line. But we're running out of Marines. Coffee running out of steam here. The tanks, they do get biled. And we're forcing this back. Can we get on top of the final 2 tanks? Yeah, we can. Oof. The biles will shut them down. Again, unfortunate that both sets of tanks were right next to each other. So very efficient biles out of Dark. Does clean that up. Does survive. And what's important is that Dark's economy was untouched. I mean, earlier, yes, the Banshees were wreaking havoc. And it was really good damage done by those Banshees. That's why that push was so close. But Dark, he maintains his economic position. Fourth base is up, fifth base is on the way. Coffee sees it, and Coffee was so committed to that attack. Now he's licking his wounds. Fourth CC on the way. Now he has to be active once again with only Marines and Medevacs. We'll come across some of these roaches. Come across some of them. See, it's going to be forced back. Behind this, the hive is done. We have 3 upgrades on the way, plus 3 carapace. Liberator gets turned away. Adrenal in production. And with this, we can try and go into Ultras, Vipers, of course. It's going to be the next big thing for Dark. Speaking of Vipers, they're out. We have 2 Vipers here at the 4th. Gathering up their energy. And Dark has maxed out. And now it's going to be on Coffee to defend. Now, we are on Alkione. This is a very defendable map on 4 bases. Sensor Tower is up. Oh, Dark going to be knocking down these rocks. Coffee does see. He does have eyes on this. Drop going to be pulling away the attention of Dark. Yeah, Sensor Towers are finishing up. This will help Coffee make sure he's in position for the move out, for the push. But again, because Dark is maxed out, he is willing to trade in efficiently. He's diving on the... Oh, I'm diving the army. There's still a lot of roaches. So, Dark may be maxed out, but he has inflated supply. He has 25 roaches. Oh my god. So, very supply inefficient. So, Dark's army looks larger than it really is. Which means he has to be very careful with how he trades. As I'm sure he wants to refine his army. There's that Ultra Cavern that we spoke about. Ultras on the horizon. Coffee going for a triple drop on the right-hand side. So far, going to be moving out on the left. Oh. And Dark, just as we move out, he does catch the army. Tanks are unsieged. Marines caught out of position. 1, 2 tanks go down. Now we can push towards that base. Dark going to be forced back at the same time the triple drop comes in. Coffee snipes a hatchery. Big pickup. The base goes down, and Dark, he got 2 tanks, yes, but not worth it. Not worth losing an entire base and a mineral line. Coffee goes to the dive. Gets what? 3 fort workers. 3 drones go down. Coffee pushing on the left. This push is a little bit worrisome because there's very little to protect the tanks. A lot of tanks, not much else. We go for the drop into the main. The drop gets cleaned up. Coffee may be throwing away a little bit too much. He is getting in position. He needs to reinforce. Vipers are on the way, and there are the blinding clouds. We cover so many tanks, and Coffee is looking like a big overextension. Every single tank goes down. That was what? 6, 7, 8 tanks? Oh my god. The tank count was reset. Coffee, he had momentum. He was doing well, but did lose a little bit too much, and now he has that much less to defend. Again, imagine this 4th base or this 5th base with a tank line. But it's no longer there. The base is being broken, and Dark looking to overwhelm. Yeah, Vipers are coming in. They don't have that much energy, but they can a blinding cloud. But they can yoink. Tanks are abducted, Baileys are rolling in, and this base has been broken. We do get into the mineral line, and every single worker going to be going down. The planetary as well. And GG gets called. Coffee was broken, and Dark takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. And yeah, with that, congratulations. Dark does take the first game. But a big shout out to Coffee because that was pretty back and forth. I would say that leading up to that final fight where Coffee did overextend and he lost all of his tanks. Leading up to that, he was doing pretty well. He was doing a great job at crippling the economy of Dark or keeping his economy in check, sniping bases, going for drop play, clearing up creep. I do think that move out with all those tanks though was a little bit adventurous, a little bit overeager, specifically because there was so little to protect those tanks. We saw how vulnerable they were, and Dark, he just collapsed on that position. With the death of all those tanks, that was the death of Coffee in that game. But up until that point, was doing really well. Surprisingly well. So not a bad game out of Coffee. But we'll see if he can tighten things up here as we get into game number 2. Here we go. I feel like Rogue went to the military right around when KSL started. I feel like it would have brought some great games. It would have been really cool to see Rogue compete in these weeklies. Would he have though? That's the question. It's a real question because Rogue was never really active in the online weeklies. Like Rogue, he was here during ESL Open Cup Asia, and very rarely did he play in ESL Open Cup Asia. He did, don't get me wrong, like we casted Rogue like win ESL Open Cups, but it's like once a month maybe, or like once every couple of months Rogue would show up. It was never his priority. Kind of like very similar to Maru actually, where like Maru's played like in 2 KSLs, but like I don't think Maru's ever played in an ESL Open Cup. Este Maru. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of site Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon KZ Gaming, the KZ, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Chinese Terran, the blue Terran player representing Team Little Fairy. It is Coffee. I think Rogue alongside Zest are... It's Rogue, Zest, Trap as well, are some of the next like generation or the next set of players that people are waiting to come out of the military and to wait and see if they do come back to the game and if they do come back to competing. There's a lot of them. But again, I think Trap, Zest, and Rogue are maybe the big ones. Deer, I think, went around the same time, but I don't know if Deer is going to be wanting to come back. Who else? Who else am I missing? There's got to be some more Protoss players. I know Patience is another one. We need like a countdown timer. We need that added to Wikipedia, where like if they're in the military, we have like a countdown timer under their name for like when they get released. That's all we need. Get on that. Here we go. Behind this, we do have a standard opener at a Coffee. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. Just going to be a Rax expand into that factory. Likewise, Reaper does get across the map. Trading with those Lings. We saw in the previous game that Dark did a great job at minimizing his losses, and should be doing the same here as one Ling goes down. Only a Ling. That might sound crazy, but it's a heck of an idea. I mean, it sounds useful. Like, I feel like people would love that, right? Like, just to have like a list of players and their countdown timers. Like, that sounds pretty hype. I'm sure it'll be useful as well because you always get people asking, right? There's always people like, yo, when does Zest come out? When does Trap come out? Like, when does Rogue come out? Like, people want to know. So we have a Reaper dipping into the natural. Up. But it looks like a bit of an overextension. The Reaper is gonna go down. Ay. Not quite worth it there for Coffee. He got 2 Ling kills, but the Reaper does fall. Coffee was able to get some additional scouting information, but did end up losing that Reaper in the end. Behind this, getting into his own opener. Ooh, something very similar, actually. Yeah. It is 3cc before Starport into Banshee. Same build as Game 1. The exact same build here from Coffee. And we'll see if he can have as much success as Dark is going to be making a massive amount of Lings. 12 Lings on the way. The Hellions, they do get into the mineral line. Oh! Yeah, and a very bold move here from Coffee, going straight for the dive. Gets 3 drone kills. 3 workers for 2 Hellions. It's an okay trade, so it's a bit of a give and take. The downside of throwing away your Hellions early on means you have that much less map control in the mid game. That's the scary thing here. You don't want to bleed out too many Hellions. If you do, then the creep will get out of hand. It will get out of control, and Dark can do whatever he wants. So Coffee has to be very careful with how and when he dives. Yeah, you can see Dark being that much more adventurous. Yeah, there's only 2 Hellions. This should be 4 Hellions instead. And because there's only 2, Dark can chase. He can chase this down. He can be more aggressive. And Coffee has to be very careful here. He does reinforce with 2 more Hellions. Ooh. Okay, now he should hold. that was a scary moment. Again, if Coffee lost 2 more Hellions, then the other 2 would be exposed, and then they could go down, and things would very quickly escalate and snowball out of control. So, thankfully, does save them. Behind this, getting into his own follow-up, it is going to be Bio. 3-1-1 setup. Banshees are moving out. And despite a bit of a shaky start, we're easing into the mid-game. We get a couple of hits in on the Queen. Banshees do arrive. They go straight for that 4th base. And just like the last game, we force a cancel. I see down here by Coffee. Gets a cancel on the 4th. Diving into the main. This time we do have a double Evo chamber already being set up. And this time Dark is not going roaches. We're going into Ling Bane. We have double Evo chambers. Bathing Nest is done. Should be getting into bathing speed. And 1-1. So Dark taking a very different approach this time. Aliens, they do clean up a lot of creep. A lot of creep does go down. Dark going to be double expanding. Because his 4th was cancelled, we do need to double expand 4th and a 5th base. Banshees, they come in from behind. They got 5 worker kills. Oh my god. Remember, last game we killed 9. We got 6 drones. Oh, for a Banshee. A little bit overzealous there from Coffee, losing a Banshee. Not a bad trade overall, but not as good as game 1. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Gets a Queen. Very nicely done. Gets a 7th worker, potentially an 8th. Coffee is being forced back. At the same time, Dark has map control. It looks to threaten a dive into the 3rd base. Coffee's army has been revealed. Oh, Dark, he wants some Marines. He does rotate over, looking for those Marines, but we have our tanks. We are in position. Very nice positioning here from Coffee. Dark is forced back. 5th base has been spotted. And she's still here in the top left. And now we are committed to our push here. The Bailings are exposed. The Coffee, if he catches these Bailings, he could try to break the 4th. And he will. Bailings, they are denied. Coffee pushing right towards the 4th base. And Dark, he knows he cannot hold on to it. He has to back off. At the same time, Hellbat's diving on top of the 5th. Dark, he's in a bit of trouble. Hatchery's going to be going down. Dark, instead, he goes for a big counter-attack. I mean, if he can't defend, then attack, and he will deny mining here at the 3rd. A lot of SCV is going to be going down. The hatchery does fall, and Coffee can keep pushing. Lings are being forced back. Oh, Coffee is aware that the Lings are returning back home. Coffee, no fear, doesn't turn around. And maybe we should have. As Starkey gets a full surround here, shuts down the tanks. Banshee goes down in the main, a double drop as well. It is going to be chased back. We have the token Swarm Host. Hello. The Swarm Host has arrived. Only one. As Dark is stabilizing, he lost the base, but he saved all of his drones. He still has a 4th base up and running. A 5th soon to be on the way. And Coffee did lose his tanks. That is what's scary here. Coffee's going for a double jump. He's going to be forced back. Does have another active drop towards the north, catching some links. So far, Coffee doing a great job here at denying the 5th hatchery. Oh. Dark stuck on 4 bases. Working on 2-2. Hive is done. Adrenal is on the way. And Coffee is licking his wounds. After losing his tanks, he's chilling back at home, building up his tank count. Swarm Host needs a name at this point. True. He makes an appearance every now and then. We like him. Wait, do we still have him? We do. There he is. Oh my god, he's safe. As Lee Mei gets caught out here on the other side of the map. Likewise, so does the drop. Dark being a little bit cheeky there. Gets spotted. Big scan there from Coffee. Dark attempting to go for a counterattack, but Coffee is not slowing down. He has the supply lead. Yeah, the base is going to be falling. Dark in a lot of trouble. Maybe lost too many Banelings too quickly. This Coffee is pushing Dark, ignoring it, going for a counterattack, but there's plenty of reinforcements back at home. Dark setting up a surround. And he will come in from behind. Gets on top of the tanks. Banelings crash in as well. And Dark, does he have enough? It looks like he should barely have enough to clean up the tanks. It's going to be close, though. A close trade here. Dark will shut this down. But here come the reinforcements. Here come more Marines. Oh, good. Banelings, they will connect. Coffee barely being cleaned up. The medevacs do survive, but Dark, he's in a lot of trouble. He's down to 3 bases. He's down to 70 workers. Desperately needs a 4th base. Desperately needs lava. We have ultras on the way. The drones are saved. Dark trying to collapse on top of these tanks. Does almost get one. And Dark, he's holding on for dear life at this point. Desperately trying to survive. Again, these counterattacks, these run-bys from Dark just haven't been worth it. He's catching a couple of units here and there. Oh. Does come across a couple of workers. Again, he's trying to force back the attention of Coffee. So we got 7 SCV kills, 8 SCV kills. But Coffee has, again, he's even in bases. He has an economic lead. Good tank positioning. Reinforcements are on the way. Dark trying to catch him. Let's get a couple of links. Ultra's on the way. Another big link counterattack. We're actually getting damage done this time. SCVs are falling. Another 8 workers. Yeah, we get a kill on the planetary. The planetary does go down. A big overextension from the Ultra. And both players are hurting. But Dark, he's finally getting damage done here. Snowballing out of control. He's getting into the 3rd. Coffee has to turn around. He's so overstimmed. Dark, he's breaking into the natural as well. Breaking into the 3rd base. We have Ultras to defend. We have Transfuse. Yeah, back at home, Dark is safe and sound. And he's taking down another mineral line. Coffee did so well. The Ultra gets in. The SCVs, there's no way out. They all get swiped to death here by the Ultras. Coffee was so close, he was doing so well. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-0 in a very scrappy game. Takes down Coffee. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Dark will take it. Congratulations here. Coffee was ahead. I want to emphasize this. Like, oh my god, look at the graph. Coffee's the blue line, by the way. This is the army graph. This is when Dark lost his Banelings and when he lost his 4th. He lost his southern 4th base. Like, Dark traded so badly. This is also when Dark went for a Ling counterattack and a Ling run by, and he lost his Lings and he didn't achieve anything with it. Like, Dark was dead in the water at this point. Coffee having over double the army supply. And the constant run-bys from Dark eventually got damage done. Eventually, he was able to cripple the economy, kill the planetary, catch reinforcements. It did pay off. Just barely, though. That was uncomfortably close. GG, well played. Congratulations, Dark will take it, but a shout out to Coffee. Because it wasn't just in game number 2, but even in game 1, Coffee wasn't looking too bad. Like, Coffee at times was ahead in both games. And Dark, doing Dark things, was able to bring it back and claw his way back in and have some really good moments. And eventually win it, of course. But again, I guess I just want to emphasize that the skill gap between these two players isn't as large as other people might think. I think on paper, Coffee is overshadowed, right? He's overshadowed by not just Oliveira, but all the Korean Terrans and all the big-name Terrans out there. So it can be hard to stand out sometimes, but GG. Good performance. Good performance out of Coffee, but But congratulations to Dark for taking that series. And with that, we have our semifinals getting ready for us.